Forbes India 30 Under 30, presented by Vivo.
Hello and a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Forbes India 30 Under 30 soiree presented by Vivo with travel partner Saudi Tourism. I'm Pavitra Parekh, your host for this evening. The pandemic years 2020 and 2021 have been a nightmare. The pandemic slowed down the pace of life and forced us into our homes. It impacted the rich and the poor, the old and the young, small businesses as well as large conglomerates. Now, to pull ourselves out of the COVID-19 fatigue, we put on some positivity cologne every now and then and functioned in what was coined as a new normal, even if the definition of new and that of normal kept changing every few months. We rolled up our sleeves, we innovated, we pivoted, and we reimagined our lives, our work, our social interactions. Businesses were reimagined, trimmed down, and teched up. Our Forbes India 30 Under 30 class of 2021 is a reflection of some of the most strong-willed and determined professionals of India. Finding young achievers in a tough year wasn't easy, but it wasn't as difficult as we thought it would be either. There was talent galore, and we picked out the best out of the best. And tonight we're here to celebrate their hustle and honor their courage of the young, restless and fearless winners of the Forbes 30 Under 30 class of 2021. Now, the annual Forbes India 30 Under 30 list recognizes India's brightest young stars across various sectors. The class of 2021 was meticulously curated from various different categories and shortlisted by a panel of esteemed judges and industry experts. And now, to set the tone for this evening, I would like to invite Forbes India's editor, Brian Caravallo, to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening and welcome to the Forbes India 30 Under 30 soiree, an annual felicitation and celebration of the brightest and most energetic talent that we have discovered in 2021. Let me begin by posing a question that may seem to be a direct contradiction to the reason we are here today. What is common between Falguni Nair of Nykaa fame, Kamesh Goel of Digit Insurance, and Birut Sheth of Gupshup? Regular followers of Forbes India may get this. They're all startup founders who took their ventures to unicorn status, that is valuations of over $1 billion when in their 50s. And things seem to have only just begun for them. Right. So why am I talking about 50-year-old achievers at an event that's meant to be a celebration of outperformers who are under 30? The answer may seem to be that the Forbes India editor belongs to that graying 50s club, and hence the inclination towards it. But no, that's not quite it. To arrive at that answer, let's track the career of perhaps the world's most famous digital visionary, Steve Jobs, a man who revolutionized personal computing, and then music, phones, apps, books. Let's track his career by the decade. When in his 20s, along with co-innovator and designer Steve Wozniak, Jobs developed the Apple II, the harbinger of the PC revolution. The 30s began disastrously for Jobs, with the Apple board ejecting the co-founder for not finding enough takers for the Mac. Jobs went on to start up Nexting to build workstation computers for education. When in his 40s, Jobs got back to Apple and helped the company, which had racked up huge losses, to get back on track. As Walter Isaacson, author of the self-titled biography of Steve Jobs, wrote, after turning 40 in 1995, Jobs flourished. In returning to Apple, Jobs would show that even people over 40 could be great innovators. Having transformed personal computers in his 20s, he would now help to do the same for music players, the recording industry's business model, mobile phones, apps, tablet computers, books, and journalism. In his 50s, when 54 exactly, Jobs told his biographer that the past 12 years of his life had been his most productive in terms of creating new products. Jobs died in 2011 at 56, a year and a half after the launch of the first iPad. His creativity and obsession with innovation stayed with him till the near end. So what's the message here? That you can be enterprising and innovative in your 50s and beyond, but it certainly helps if you begin early. And that's the significance of today's event and the Forbes India 30 Under 30 list. All those present here today, those on the 2021 30 Under 30 list, as well as the alumni of the past decade, have an Apple II in them, and much more. It's not just because it's cool to be young. As jobs prove, you can get cooler as you grow older. It's just that it helps to begin early when passion and energy are at peak levels. The Forbes India 2021 30 under 30 list is indeed a movable feast of creativity and performance in varied fields, from science and engineering to sports and entertainment. In the course of this evening, we will highlight the feats of each of these young achievers and felicitate them. In between those felicitations, we will also have some entertaining and educative sessions on leadership, innovation, mentorship, and winning. So sit back and enjoy the evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, Brian. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, let's get started. Sunil Chhetri is synonymous with football in India, a colossus in his own right. Chhetri is one of the true Khel Ratnas amongst us. He debuted for India in 2005 and changed how the world and the country looked at this beautiful game. With 80 strikes from 125 international matches, he is currently tied with football legend Messi on the number of goals among active players. Now, the 37-year-old talismanic captain of the Indian football team is one of the few players who holds the Padma Shri as well as Arjuna Award honours. Soul of Bengaluru City FC and inspiration of every Indian sports person, here's Sunil Chhetri for a very special keynote for our class of 2021.
I hope, first of all, everyone is safe, everyone is healthy, your families are good. I'm Sunil Chhetri. I play football for my country, India, and I also play for my club, Bangalore FC. I have been given this honor to come and talk to you, and I was given a lot of pointers as to how to motivate you and tell you my journey. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but probably I'll take 7 or 10 minutes of your time and tell you a few things about me. And I'm not sure whether it's going to motivate you, but I hope it entertains you, and I hope it's worth your time. I was given a very, very good start because I was born to my mom and dad. My father's name is Mr. K.V. Chhetri, Kharga Bahadur Chhetri. My mom is called Susla Chhetri. And why I say that it was a good start is because I got the great genetics, and that was a good head start. I'm not a big fan of luck and fortune, but I must admit I was completely fortunate to be born as their son, and that was a great head start. Sports was a very, very important aspect of our life. Both my mom and dad encouraged me and my sister to play different sports. At that time, there wasn't a specific school for different sports as what it is now. There are a lot of different academies for different sports. It wasn't the same back then. A lot of people who are from my generation would understand that. But still, my mom and dad tried their best. Most of the times when I did not have enough players to play with, my mom and dad used to be my mates on the pitch, and that's how I learned. So the upbringing was great. I was, of course, in my household, because I'm from an army background. Being disciplined and respecting everyone was necessary, paramount, and given. Apart from that, we were allowed to express ourselves in whichever way we wanted. So I turned 16, and I think I did my class 12th, and I got an offer from Mohun Bagan, which at that time and even now is one of the biggest clubs in our country with such rich history. So when I got the call, I wasn't sure whether they're calling me for the main team or for the academy, but still I left. My father wasn't there in Delhi at that point of time. He was posted, I think, in Jammu Kashmir or somewhere. So I had to travel alone, which wasn't very usual then. I took a train. I went to Calcutta. It wasn't easy, but I wasn't thinking too much. I was just too excited. I did not know whether it was a call for the main team or for an academy. I was happy with the academy also, because it meant that I'm going to learn at such a prestigious club. Oh, before that, when I was playing temporary in Delhi, I use the word temporary because I wasn't playing throughout the year. I played for a club called City Club in Delhi, which was to play for the club meant I was playing professionally, semi-professionally for 2-3 months. And during that time, I also was shortlisted by Tata Football Academy, which then and even now is a huge academy for all the youngsters. I was shortlisted. They saw me and they rejected me not once but twice. So that wasn't nice. But because it was such a huge academy, I did not think of it as a failure. I thought, you know what, I tried my best and it didn't happen. Yeah, and then cut to the other scene when I where I reached Mohun Bagan, and to my utmost pleasure, after 1 week, 10 days of trial, I was offered the contract for the main team. I couldn't sign it because I was a minor, so my father had to come to Calcutta, and yeah, once he reached Calcutta, he was told by the officials that they wanted me to sign a deal for 3 years, and me and my father were extremely happy. I mean, one of the best days of my life, and that's where the journey started. That's where the I don't even think there was a dream that I would ever play for a huge club. Uh, so I wouldn't say that the dream came true then, because to be honest, I didn't even dream of it. Yeah, so then I signed Mohun Bagan and everything is hunky dory. But that's where the struggle started, because it's one thing to sign for a big club and another to sustain to the pressure, to the expectations. And it wasn't easy. As we already addressed that, I did not join TFA. So I didn't have formal education about football. I was playing because probably I was all right, and I enjoyed it. But then that's one part, and to be a part of Mohun Bagan, which then was the best club in the country. I was 20 when I played for my country for the first time, and when I say for my country for the first time, it means the senior national team. I had played for the junior levels, but it's nothing as compared to when you play for your senior national team for the first time. We went to Pakistan, and we played Pakistan for the first time. I played Pakistan as my debut. It was at Balochistan, which is right at the north. I scored on my debut, which probably is going to be one of the best days of my life. I'm going to take that feeling to my grave. And it was outstanding. It was amazing. It's one thing to get the national team jersey, and it's another thing to score on your debut. Sadly, unfortunately, we drew the game. We considered in the last, I think, 85th minute, and the game was 1-1. But by far one of the most important days of my life. Then I started playing for my country regularly. I started playing for Mohun Bagan regularly. Everything was good. Uh, but the ups and downs kept coming. When you look at your career in a holistic way now, because I've been fortunate to play for 19 years, uh, generally you see the graph going like this, upwards, but in between there were so many times where things weren't great. And then so many times, so many things that went your way. And one thing that I've learned in the 19 years is you just have to trust your process. You just have to keep going. Things aren't going to be the way you want. And it's not only in football, but also in life. Every day is not going to be the same. Uh, and you just have to keep working hard. Put your head down and try to be better as compared to what you were yesterday. And I'm pretty sure all of you have heard this from so many other greats. I'm sure you must have read about this, but it actually makes sense. It actually makes sense that the best way to look at it is to be a little bit better than what you were yesterday, in terms of your skill, in terms of your profession, in terms as a human being. And that really helps, because good days don't stay. And the same goes for the bad days. You know, there was a nice thing that one of my coaches told me, and his name is Bob Orton, that the more you win, the closer you are to a loss. And it makes sense. The more good thing happens to you, it gives you a reason to work even harder, because you're fighting to keep that bad day or a bad loss away. And it's going to come. Someday it's going to come. It always does. The more bigger your career, and you realize that it is going to come. And so it did for me also in my life. There were some amazing days, like my debut for my country, winning the Nehru Cup, winning the SAF Cup for my club, winning the I League, winning the ISL, winning the Federation Cup. For me individually, the prestigious Arjun Award, or the Padma Shri, or the Khel Ratna, or winning the Player of the Year as number of times that I've won. But there were so many other days where I felt that I couldn't recover, where I felt that this is it, where I have gone to the bathroom and cried alone. And it is what it is, and that's how it is. There were a lot of ups and downs. Initially, it used to bother me a lot whenever there was a debacle or there was a big loss. It really used to bother me a lot. But with time and with experience, I've learned that it is what it is. It is going to happen. The only thing that is in your hand is how much you can put in. So work really, really hard, be honest to yourself, and things will happen. Be patient. Also, my profession teaches me not to be too arrogant about your success, because sometimes it's very short-lived. And also it teaches you not to get bogged down by your failures, because again, it's not short-lived. If you really work hard, things change. Every other week there's a game. You know, you can be a hero 1 week, and just in 1 week you can be a complete zero, a villain for why the team lost the game. So I think that's where we sports person, we learn to be humble very quick. If you want to sustain your career, of course. There are a few examples where players couldn't learn that, and they lost themselves, and they couldn't reach the optimal level of their potential. But if you really want to sustain yourself, and the ones who have done well, you learn to be humble. You learn to be grounded. I'll tell you, there's so many reasons why you have to be humble. You should be humble and you should be grounded. But I'll tell you one main reason. Once you're grounded and humble, it means you are right there where you started. If you start thinking about the success that you have earned, and if you start behaving like that, you will never work as hard as what you used to when you did not have all the success. That's what staying grounded and humble are very, very important, because you start at it again as a youngster. Sometimes it is not easy, and I'll be honest, sometimes I tend to behave like the Sunil Chetri who has achieved all of the things. And let me tell you a secret, more than often, I end up not doing well when I behave like that. And whenever I go out at the pitch in training or at games thinking the same way when I used to be the 16-year-old who just wanted to go there and perform and give your best, I tend to do well. And I know it's not easy, because now, after so many years, whatever you've learned, it comes out. It's not easy to think, you know what, let's not think about whatever I've achieved and just play like a 16-year-old. But that's the mantra. And that's why, no matter who you are, no matter how much you've achieved, try and stay humble and grounded. It's not easy all the time, but whenever you catch yourself being arrogant or too full of yourself, think about it. Think about it. It's not going to give you sustained results. I want to wish all of you all the very best. As I said, I don't know if this was a motivational speech, but I just hope there's something that I can take from it. Keep working hard. Just try to be a little bit better than what it was yesterday, what you were yesterday, and yeah, enjoy.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Chetri, for those wonderful words. And now it is time for us to give away our first set of felicitations. Our first recognition is for the category of advertising, marketing, and media. Now, as the pandemic caused ripple effects across various different sectors, it also forced brands to rethink how they will connect with customers. It has revolutionized advertising and marketing probably forever. Our first achiever is someone who carved her own path in the opaque sales market and is now handling Amul's flagship beverage brand. Shefali Vijayvargiya is the brand manager of Amul Cool. She started her journey as Amul's area sales manager in Gujarat in 2016 and then worked her way up the ladder by tackling the challenges that came her way. Right from logistical issues to streamlining distribution for Amul's partners during the pandemic, she is consistently taking the brand to new levels in an extremely competitive market of beverages. Congratulations, Shefali, for this big win.
Forbes is a global platform and it's thrilling to have made it to Forbes India list. I think it's a dream for many youngsters to see their name on Forbes magazine. In fact, I remember reading Forbes magazine and wondering what an achievement it must be to have, even your mention there. And now when I get to call myself a Forbes alum, I feel so happy. It's like a dream come true. I have had the privilege of connecting with fellow alums, and it's a super inspiring community of men and women. This is all the more special for me because Amul is a symbol of women empowerment with its 3.6 million rural producers. And when I represent them as a woman professional on Forbes India Under 30 list, I feel glad to be a part of this community. And if I were to summarize my feelings in one word, it feels special. Thank you.
Next up, she is the first woman to become a vertical business head at YouTube. She's also the youngest ever to reach that position at YouTube India. Please raise your glasses to Niharika Kapoor, who's APAC lead YouTube community and social media support operations. In the world of digital content creators and social media influencers, Niharika is the one who goes ahead and discovers and grooms talent for YouTube India. She's launched some of the most innovative programs in the region, including Next Up for Originals, gaming artists, as well as Women to Watch. Congratulations, Niharika.
I'm extremely happy to have been featured on the Forbes India 30 Under 30 list. It was definitely a wonderful milestone for me personally and for my career, and has really given me a renewed sense of confidence in myself, and really excited for moving strength to strength from this milestone ahead. This is not something that I could have planned for, and it is definitely something that happened super organically. I'm really happy that it happened because as I was going through my career, I was making conscious decisions, but of course it takes time to really realize one's potential. I'm still at the very start of my career, but being recognized for my work definitely creates a very positive boost for me, and this recognition by Forbes India is extremely special, and it has also come at a juncture in my career which helps me to get like a new direction, a more renewed sense of confidence.
Moving on, the winners of our next category are using tech to revolutionize Indian agriculture. The first winner in this coveted agri-tech sector is an entrepreneur duo. These two aeronautical engineers recognize that Indian farmers have no means to predict crop threats like pests, diseases, as well as nutrient deficiencies. If they could catch it early on, farmers may not lose their entire crop. Amandeep Panwar and Rishabh Chaudhary, executive directors, CEO and CTO of Bharat Rohan Airborne Innovations, use drone hyperspectral imaging technologies to detect these potential crop threats so that farmers can catch it early and save costs. Congratulations, Amandeep and Rishabh.
Thank you, Forbes India, for recognizing our efforts and listing us in the 30 under 30 list. We are glad to be part of the community of the young minds leading a change in the society. I think being recognized by one of the leading media houses changes life in many ways. Being a listed in the Forbes has helped us build credibility and trust in the industry. Moreover, it has helped us get recognized by the potential partners, investors, and other stakeholders. Personally, it has proven to be a great motivator and has greatly inspired us. When you are creating something and world recognizing your effort, it adds a lot of value and propels you forward. And the same has happened to me.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the farmers who believed in us and are constantly motivating us to do better and make India a global leader in sustainable agriculture. Being a lister on the Forbes 30 list helped us to get recognized by potential partners, investors, and other stakeholders. Personally, it has proven to me to be a great motivator and has greatly inspired me. When you are creating something and world recognizes you, your effort, it only propels you forward. And the same has happened to me.
Our next winner is an entrepreneur whose startup helps nearly 6 lakh farmers with advice and information to improve the quality and quantity of their produce. Gramophone is helping farmers study crop cycles better to make farming much more efficient. Please give a big round of applause to Harshit Gupta, the co-founder of Gramophones. A very big congratulations to you, Harshit.
I feel really happy, thrilled, and honored to feature in the elite Forbes 30 under 30 list, which I have been following throughout my career. And the best part is to represent agriculture sector in it, which I have been, part of throughout my educational background and professional experience. And it has given me a credibility to my capabilities that what can be done in this sector. Reaction was definitely of delightness and also a little bit of nervousness that now it has given a little bit of added pressure also to keep performing well in life. So it was a mixed bag and definitely more on the positive side, and I'm really honored to get featured.
Art is something that is interpreted and perceived differently by every single individual. And this evening, we celebrate a distinguished artist who creates art in the themes of distance, temporality, absences, and more. Biraj Dodia is our next achiever. Congratulations, Biraj.
Thank you so much, Forbes India, for including me on the 30 under 30 list. It's a great honor, and I'm so happy to be part of it. Thank you so much. Being on the Forbes 30 under 30 list has been amazing. It's an amazing honor, and it definitely at first came as a pleasant surprise, but as I've been kind of thinking about it, it feels good to be recognized amongst various people working in diverse fields of work that are different from mine, and who are working hard and in a disciplined way and doing very interesting, innovative work in India. With the arts, with any creative work, often there is no clear kind of criteria or checklist for success. So one isn't expecting honors. Often, one is kind of working within their medium in a kind of self-driven way, but to be recognized and by such an important institution feels amazing. It's really kind of opened up many new conversations.
Now, climate change is probably the biggest threat that the world faces right now. And as leaders across the world raise an alarm, it gives me immense pride to introduce to you our winners in the climate change and clean energy category. Electric vehicles are the need of the hour, but there is hesitancy to adopt them due to long charging times and short driving range. Twin sisters, entrepreneur duo Nishita and Nikita Baliar Singh, the co-founders and CEO and COO of Nexus Power, are building an EV future beyond lithium-ion batteries. Nexus Power batteries are made from crop residue and are biodegradable as well as fast charging. This formidable duo is solving many a challenge with their enterprise. We wish them all of the success, and congratulations, Nishita and Nikita.
thank you so much to Forbes India for having us featured in the list of Forbes 30 under 30 2021. And it was such a delightful feeling, and we are so glad that we made it to the list. In fact, we are grateful to Forbes India for having a criteria like that, where young entrepreneurs are felicitated and honored for the work that they're doing. So this really encourages a lot of people to, start working hard and look at entrepreneurship as a segment. So being on the Forbes India list, you actually get a global recognition of being those 30 people out of India who've been recognized for that, say, for class of 2021. And for us as an individual as well as for the business, I think it really makes a difference, because then you're recognized more. There are more people who are interested to know what you're doing, more people who want to see and try and interact to find out how things are going, whether there's a way they can support us, or or maybe through resources or through joint collaborative research, whatever. So I think being on the list has really not only given us a little bit of I wouldn't say popularity, but recognition across the globe, but to Nexus Power as well. So it's a combined effort that allows you to then, your path, I believe, gets little easier to then cross through. It doesn't have as many hurdles as it would have had if you would have been on the list.
And now it's time to welcome on stage the youngest star of the class of 2021. This young Indian cricketer made the world take notice when in 2018 for the Under-19 Cricket World Cup, he put up the score of 372 runs for the average of 124 to secure a record 4th world title. He is the youngest player to lead a team in domestic cricket and the youngest batsman for an Indian team to score a double century in a first-class match. His 91 runs against Australia in the 2020 Test series is one of his best match-winning knocks. Praised for his flawless batting skills by legends such as Rahul Dravid, VVS Lakshman, Saurav Ganguly, as well as Sachin Tendulkar, 22-year-old Shubman Gill is the future of Indian cricket. Please join me in welcoming from the class of 2021 Shubman Gill in conversation with renowned sports analyst Gaurav Kalra to discuss achieving success at a very young age, his journey in international cricket and lots more.
Thank you, Pavitra. Yes, talking today to one of India's brightest young batting talents, Shubman Gill, who has really emerged in the last few years as a player to be reckoned with. Shubman, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I must say that Shubman is used to achieving things at a young age. He was, in fact, on the cover of Forbes last year at on the same list, 30 under 30, and he was, in fact, the youngest of those who were chosen on that list. So Shubman, you are used to achieving things quite early in your life. At a young age, you're already achieving some remarkable things.
And then thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be on the Forbes 30 and the 30. While growing up, Forbes is one of those magazines and one of those forces that you always reckon with and you always know. So it was a pleasure to be on Forbes.
Let me ask you, I think, since we started talking about being young and just starting out in your cricket journey, so to speak. I mean, I know you've been playing cricket all your life, literally, but just now handling the fame of being someone who's an India international cricketer. How has that been? The fact that now you've taken that step up and are now among really the most elite cricketers in the country.
I think it really adds more to the responsibility of you as a player and what you want to do with what I want to do with Shubman the cricketer. And now with me being, among the other international players, it's just more opportunity to me express more as a player and as a cricketer. And I feel it adds more, like I said, it adds more responsibility to me and how I want to express me as a player in this lovely game that we all know as cricket.
Yes, in fact, I will talk to you about your cricket because you are, like I said, one of the most impressive and talented young players in the country. But I must ask you, with fame and these days, especially with social media around and all of that, there comes a lot of scrutiny and in many ways, a lot of pressure. What's that been like for you to handle, Shubman?
I mean, at first, like you said, social media is a big influence and it's both a blessing and a curse. And it's just about how you keep it, how you want to keep it balanced, because we have all seen the power of social media. And it's it's really important for all the people, you know, who are just getting into the international cricket, and they just getting there, and to be able to handle both the trolling and both the praise that you get on social media or anywhere. It's really important. And I think when it when it really when you really start getting there, and the first phase of it, you really get overwhelmed with both the good things and the bad things about social media. But as you go through that, or as you get over it, it really, you tend to learn that you have to, you know, ignore the people who are really behind your back, and you just have to focus on what you have to do, rather than, you know, focusing on the good things or the bad things. You just have to focus what you want to do, and how you want to do it.
Must say, Shubman, clearly, just being around international cricket for a little while, you've become already more mature than a 22-year-old usually is. You're sounding like a veteran almost, of someone who understands all the things that happen around the game these days. I must ask you though, you started out playing cricket very young. I think the story goes you were about 3 years old when you started playing cricket. You've had success through age group cricket. You had success at the Under-19 World Cup where you were man of the series. But being an India cricketer, it's a notch above, isn't it? Just above everything else. So how has life changed for Shubman Gill after you became an India cricketer?
Obviously, life does change a bit after you play for India, and I think IPL is kind of that stage in between that under 19, or, you know, the Ranji Trophy level and the international level. That is kind of the bridge between that. And I was fortunate enough that I got to play IPL for a year or a couple of years to get to know what really international cricket is, and that really helped me to get to know the players. And I was really fortunate to have somebody like Yuvraj Singh, or some of the players who have already, you know, been through all of that, and them sharing their experiences with me. So I was really fortunate in terms of that.
And now that you've been around the Indian team and you've played for India, what is it like, Shubman, to then have this situation because of injury or whatever other reason not being involved? You missed out the series in England because of an injury. This series against South Africa that was ongoing, not being able to be part of that. Do you sit back and watch it on TV and say, I really, really am really missing being part of this? How do you deal with that?
Obviously, it's very, very frustrating, and, you know, when you miss out on a important series. Like, series in England was really huge for me, and I was really looking forward for it, and I was actually preparing for it for a long time. And for me to be able to miss that series due to injury, like, injury is one of those things where you can't really do anything about it. You just have to, like, take it in, and you just have to go through the process of trying to get fit again. And then I made a comeback in the IPL, and the second half of the IPL was great for me and for the team. Like, nobody expected us to play the finals, and we played the finals. Unfortunately, we lost the finals. And then to be able to get injured again in the New Zealand series, and then to be able to miss this South Africa series, it's really frustrating. But it's something that you can't do anything about. You just have to go through it. You just have to like go through this. And it's actually very annoying and very frustrating, but it's one of those things where you can't really do anything about it.
That's true. It's part and parcel of being an international sports person that you get injured. Shubman, you've played so far international cricket as an opening batter, mostly in Test cricket. There's a lot of players now vying for those two spots as an opener. How do you see this competition among you guys as players? And just to add on to that, would you also consider playing, or would you like to play in the middle order if that is what the team management wants you to do? What would be your preference, open or middle order?
I think my preference would be whatever my team wants me to do. Like you said, there are a lot of openers in the Indian team right now, and I think it's a good, healthy competition. And the good thing is, whosoever gets the opportunity, everybody grabs that opportunity. You know, when I got my opportunity as an opener, I did decently. And then when KL came into the mix in England, he performed so well. And then Mayank came, and Mayank did so well in the New Zealand series. So that's the beauty about it. Whosoever is getting the opportunity, they are so keen and they are so eager for that opportunity. They are just lashing onto that. And what you asked, I wouldn't have any. If my team wants me to bat as an opener, I would obviously be happy to bat as an opener. If they want me to bat in the middle order, like for me, any opportunity to represent my country, I would not let that go, no matter where I get that opportunity.
Before we finish, Shubman, I do want to ask you about some of the early influences and things of that nature. I mentioned at the start of this interview that you started remarkably young. I think you were 3 or 4 years old when you started actually training almost, if not professionally, quite seriously. Can you talk a little bit about the influence and the impact that your parents have had and your family has had in where you are right now as an international sports person?
They have had the biggest impact of me where I am right now. Of course, my dad being my primary coach, and the reason why I started playing cricket, or even why I started watching cricket, was because of my dad, because he was so interested and he was so passionate about it. And me as a young kid, you just want to you just want somebody to look up to, somebody that you want to copy, actually, because kids love imitating, or they love copying other people. And me, I used to be fascinated, like, what is this thing that my dad always watches? And whenever there used to be any batsman on the screen playing some shot, I am not used to, I at least try to imitate that whenever I got the opportunity. And then just one my dad saw me a couple of times that I'm trying to imitate these shots, and then he started teaching me, and then we started practicing. And then from there on, he realized, okay, there might be something that he would be able to take this forward. And then we started practicing professionally when I was 6 or 7. Like, we were really practicing for 4-5 hours a day, and then from there on, my journey started.
Yes, and it has been wonderful already. The other change that has happened is that Rahul Dravid is now head coach of the senior team. You, of course, have prior experience of working with Rahul Dravid as coach. He was coach of the team that you were part of that won the Under-19 World Cup a couple of years ago. So, what's that equation like? And what's your view of how Rahul Dravid can be an important integral factor in India's test team?
The equation is great between us, to be honestly, and we have that kind of bond that where he can tell me anything about me, if I'm doing something right or wrong, not just in cricket, but my attitude, or in terms of me mentally, if I'm going through something. Is somebody that I can talk to, and he's someone who is in constantly touch with all the players in terms of what he wants from us, and in terms of what we want from him. So I think that equation is great, and hopefully there are more good things in the future for the Indian cricket, as long as he's the head coach.
You're just starting out, Shubman. So before I finish, I must ask you this. Is there a target in your mind at the end of these 10, 15 years that you will be an international cricketer, perhaps longer things that you definitely want to achieve as an individual?
I mean, when you start, when I started playing cricket, my one of my dreams was to win a World Cup for India, and definitely that will be my top priority. That me as a player, I want to win a World Cup with India, and if I'm able to do that, then I would definitely be more happier and satisfied after 15 or how many ever years when I retire.
You've already won a World Cup for India, actually.
Oh, for the senior side.
Yes. Final question. I know you're only 22 years old, so it's probably a little unfair to ask someone that young. But if you were to give one piece of advice to young people, whatever career paths they are choosing at your age, 18, 19, 20, that age group, what would you say to them?
I think one of the things that people mistakenly tell me, or they always say that, that I was really talented, and I was so natural and this that. But I feel like if they would have known how much of hard work plays into our game, of how much of hard work I did, I think anybody can do anything if they are really willing to put in the work, and if they're really willing to put in the hours. And I think that is the most important, like consistency and hard work is the most important thing for anybody if they want to do anything.
Lovely words to end this on. Thank you so much, Shubman, and hopefully we see you back on the field soon.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Shubman and Gaurav, for that very insightful conversation. Moving on to our next set of felicitations then for the Forbes India 30 Under 30 class of 2021, presented by Vivo and travel partner Saudi Tourism. Now, design is a category keenly included in the Forbes India 30 Under 30 list to highlight its importance in our everyday life. Today, we recognize a thrash metal lead guitarist and artist who focuses on incorporating technology as a core element of his experiential designs. Aqib Wani is the founder and creative director of Aqib Wani Designs. His studio specializes in creating original interactive installations, transforming spaces and branding while emphasizing on sustainability as the underlying theme in all of his designs. Congratulations, Aqib, on this win.
Thank you, Forbes India, for including me in this prestigious list of Forbes 30 Under 30 in the design category. I mean, it means the world to me for someone who's a self-taught designer, and to be a part of this list with such huge names. I mean, it means the world to me. So thank you so much for having me on this list. Honestly, it feels great. It feels like a dream, and it's an absolute honor, honestly, to be on this list because, like I said earlier, you know, being a self-taught designer, you're always sort of underconfident with the fact that are you good enough in this world where everyone sort of, you know, they have a degree, they have a backing of what they're doing, right? And for me, since that was never there, it always felt like, okay, I may be not good enough because I don't have a, you know, a degree with me, or I haven't done the conventional way of you know, getting into this world of design. But to say that Forbes India got me on this list, I feel much more confident because of that, and I feel, you know, it has immensely helped me and my business.
All right, content has been our savior and escape from the real world, and these content creators have created their own brands, influence, and their star power. Our next Forbes India 30 Under 30 achiever is a go-getter. He has created some of the most interesting viral videos and aims to open his own production house someday. With more than 27.3 million subscribers on YouTube, please give it up for Ashish Chanchlani. Congratulations, Ashish.
First of all, I would like to thank everyone at Forbes India for giving me this honor of being in this amazing list. It was definitely a dream come true for me to be in this list, and I never thought that I would be a part of this. So this is one of the biggest achievements of my life, and this is definitely the most precious feather to my cap this year. So thank you to the jury. Thank you to my audience, and thank you everyone for all the love. And I'm very honored to be a part of this. And I've worked very hard. My team has worked very hard. We made sure that, you know, this year we try to bring in themes, and we try to bring in content that is not just out there to entertain, but has this subtle social commentary in it.
Our next recognition in the very same category goes to a couple who decided to take a break from their 9-to-5 jobs and explore India like it had never been done before. They started making travelogues with a social message and to encourage social good in India. And there was no looking back for them. Abhiraj Rajadhyaksha and Niyati Mavin Kurve are our next Forbes India 30 Under 30 achievers. Congratulations, Abhiraj and Niyati.
Hi, this is Abhi.
And this is Neil.
And thank you so much, Forbes India, for featuring us in the Forbes 30 Under 30 list. It's amazing. It feels amazing that finally the work we have been putting in is getting acknowledged. And it will definitely help us reach more people.
Thank you so much, Forbes India 30 Under 30, for giving us such an important and essential feature
it's always been the case that our metric of success is simple. Whatever makes our parents proud is success for us. So this made our parents proud. They are our top fans, and they were ecstatic. They were sharing it with everybody, every person that they knew. They have a couple of copies just reserved with them for them. So that's how it has impacted our life.
Our next category for this evening is e-commerce and retail. Now, men's grooming is all the rage in India today, and our winner reflects the energy and enthusiasm it takes to change perceptions. Please welcome the founder and CEO of Let's Shave, Siddharth Oberoi, who is disrupting the grooming market and taking on MNCs with his direct-to-consumer startup. Congratulations, Siddharth.
It's a great pleasure and it's a great honor to be featured under Forbes 30 under 30. And I have been, associated with Forbes because Forbes India has really been special for me because, when I started the company, it was at nascent stage. And Forbes India was one of the media houses who wrote an article for me. And I'm really delighted to be part of Forbes 30 under 30. It's a great, proud moment.
Our next achiever is an entrepreneur who started his venture from his dorm room. Let's give a big round of applause to Santino Roy, co-founder and chief product officer of Hyper Exchange, a refurbished goods buying and selling platform that uses AI to check and certify products. Congratulations, Santino.
Thank you, Forbes India, for having Hyper Exchange selected as a Forbes 30 under 30 startup this year in the 2021 edition. It has been a great journey for us since 2016, starting from my college dorm room to being on Forbes magazine, which was one of the dreams as every entrepreneur. Thank you once again. Looking forward. From investors to probably the community as a whole, has a delightful, or I would say, a very impacting sense towards your journey, because that really defines you as a startup which has created enough impact and created, in terms of revenues, etc. This is probably one of the most premier lists to be on.
Our next Forbes India 30 under 30 winner works in education, and it gives me immense joy to honor someone who has been working towards improving access to education for orphans in India, believing that every child is equal and deserves to get an education no matter what. She is also a lawyer and an author. Congratulations, Paulami Pavni Shukla.
I'd like to thank Forbes India for including me in their 30 under 30 list. I'm very honored to be in this list. But more than anything, I would like to thank Forbes India for recognizing the importance of this campaign for orphan rights. India has 29.6 million orphan children, and less than 5 lakh of them are covered by any government program. These children, these are the faceless, the nameless, the abandoned millions of our country who have no voice, and Forbes has given them a voice stronger than anything I could have dreamt of. So thank you so much, Forbes. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Our next felicitation in education goes to an edtech startup that puts teachers at the center of their learning programs. With more than 50,000 educators and coaching institutes that serve over 10 million students, Class Plus is present in over 1,000 cities as well as towns across India. Mukul Rustagi and Bhaswat Agarwal, co-founders of Class Plus, are our next set of achievers. Congratulations to you, Mukul, as well as Bhaswat.
Being a part of this illustrious list has obviously impacted us quite immensely. From a professional standpoint, it has obviously given us as well as the company a lot more credibility when it comes to raising capital, attracting a really strong brand of talented people to the company. So yeah, from that standpoint, I think recognition and credibility has helped us immensely professionally as well. And personally, being part of Forbes has always been everybody's childhood dream, right? So that sort of accomplishment has made us feel really proud of ourselves and makes us strive harder to work hard and accomplish greater things in life.
As individuals, we were always excited about creating impact. We also wanted to do something at scale. Entrepreneurship is one of those rare paths which allow you to do both simultaneously. So the moment we got a chance, we jumped into it, and the dream always has always been to create impact and scale, and that is what keeps us going today.
Next up, we have an interesting tete-a-tete, which I am certain our young audience is going to enjoy. Let's dive right into this one with India's youngest billionaire, the co-founder of Zerodha and True Beacon, Nikhil Kamath, in conversation with public speaker, business content creator and social media influencer Raj Shamani on all things investing.
Hi everybody, what's up? I am Raj and today I'll be talking to Nikhil. Well, I don't know how to introduce Nikhil Kamath because trust me, like till when I got to know about him, I think pretty much everybody already knew about him at that time. But still, let me introduce, he's one of the Forbes 30 under 30 alumni. He's been very crucial in building Zerodha, which is one of the flagship startups when it comes to bootstrap stories in India. Also, now he's building True Beacon. And apart from all of that, why I believe like Nikhil should be followed and everybody should look up to him is because of his crucial research post on Instagram. What do you say about that, Nikhil? I love those posts, okay? Everybody has been talking about them.
I'm contrarian. Why, I don't know. I think a little bit like I like saying bad things about other people. Not that enough bad stuff is not said about me, but I enjoy it. Yeah, like I post once in a week, and I normally say nonsense, and it's entertaining.
One of the interesting stuff which I found out on your Instagram is maybe it's basic for you, but for a lot of people, it's very interesting to know about the stuff which you post, especially when it comes to, let's say, crypto. It's about where the money is coming from, where the money is going. How do you come up with all of that? Like, is that the daily routine which you go through, the research papers, or you just find it out to post it on Instagram?
No, I think it's what I'm kind of reading about at that point. And if I find anything interesting, like every day I'm talking to people, I have friends in the crypto world. I think you are becoming one of them, but you're also entering crypto, right? Like I see your posts talking about it. But I have Tanmay and I have like Akshay and I have like a dozen different people who keep telling me about things like the metaverse and crypto and what they're doing on Solana and stuff like that. Things I have no real knowledge about, but I'm trying to learn because, you know, even though I feel like I've been left out of a large part of the party, I want to catch up and, you know, be part of that ecosystem in one way or another. So when I have a question, I kind of post it. When I don't understand something, I look it up and then post it so maybe other people can think about it as well.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. I'm going to take a step back right now and start off with the first question, and then we'll dive back into the crypto conversation because I have an interesting question for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So if for the beginning, like you are a Forbes 30 under 30 alumni, right? From the class of 2016, I guess. And in 2020, you debuted on the Forbes India rich list of the 100 richest Indians. And today you're addressing 30 under 30 class of 2021. How has the journey been like? Like you've been into every goddamn list which people aspire to be on the Forbes. What do you say? I have a question for you. That are you more content today or more hungry than you were in 2016?
Not more content, but also less hungry, if that makes sense. I think I'm kind of like tired. I've been doing the same thing for a long time in my life. I've been trading. See, everything else for me personally is ancillary, be it stockbroking or asset management or all the other businesses that we are, you know, a small part of or a big part of. What I really cherish is buying something which goes up in value very quickly, be it both on the private side or the public side. uh, I I would, go to the extent of calling it an addiction today. Like if I were to lose money for the next 10 years doing investing, I would probably still continue to do it because I'm so hooked. That being said, 2016, what, when was the Forbes 30 and under 30? Maybe 5, 6 years ago. I know Nandika's on this. I kind of like remember her being a part of it back then as well. It was the first time, I had to like pose for a photo in a magazine, and being as awkward as I could. The photographer told me to do some stupid things, and I ended up doing them. He's like, sit on a bike, look into the sky, and then do this and that. But I hadn't done a lot of media at that point 5, 6 years ago. I was like, I was kind of like excited whilst not really thinking about how stupid I will look when there's a magazine which is out, and I'm sitting on a bike and looking at the sky, how that makes me look. But yeah, interesting experience. I've had friends at Forbes for a long time. I think back in the day there was Praveen, there was Brian, there's Nandika who's on this call, of course, and many others. I don't know who all are still there and who has quit along the years, but interesting. The other Forbes lists which I can recall, there was something called Tycoons of Tomorrow. There was for the last couple of years the Forbes 100, the one which is based on money and stuff like that. I don't think any of them had as much. They got me as excited or as interested as the 30 under 30. A, because I was really young. B, it was my first time kind of like posing for a magazine. And C, in India, we have all grown up with the idea of Forbes. We might not have really read the magazines, but we've all heard, Forbes is this magazine about rich people and stuff like that. So it was very exciting.
What do you think is one key of, what is that one thing which has made you successful or which has gotten you into all of these things?
I think the answer to that is different for everyone. When you're younger, you want validation. I don't think it really changes. I want validation today, and I probably will require validation when I'm 70 years old if I live that long. So the need for validation, the need for other people to kind of like look up to you, or you think they look up to you, I think is what makes society and community function in the way that we see it. Back then we were just kind of like scaling our business, and you wanted validity from your relatives and your colleagues, and just for ourselves, we wanted to know that what we're doing is appreciated and it's on the right track and stuff like that. When I think of it today, I think we're looking for validation from new peers, from our clients, from the people who've been part of our journey for the last 10, 11 years. And I don't think that will ever change. In isolation, I don't think any of us know what we really want. We're all born, and we're born in a vacuum, and we start thinking what we want is what we end up reading or end up looking at in the media. But I think validation is the main thing, and it's something that you will always run after, or I will always run after for the rest of my life.
Because of this validation, because of certain things which we chase in our life, a lot of young people and women and everybody have started investing in stock markets recently because of this trend, because of this validation which we want. Okay, now if I invest somewhere, my money is growing, I am also getting rich. Like this, there's this urge, right? Do you think this trend will keep up even after pandemic, or just because we are at our homes, we want something and that's why we're putting money in our stock markets right now?
I think it's like, FOMO. A lot of people are investing in equity markets and crypto markets, everything else you hear about on social media. I know I'm on a Forbes whatever panel right now, but traditional media to a certain extent is getting replaced by social media. I think it's a matter of time before marketers start utilizing social media in a more meaningful manner. I've just invested in this company which kind of manages social media influencers and kind of aggregates campaigns for them called Cofluence. I get to see the trends behind how much marketing money is spent in traditional media and how much is spent in the social media ecosystem in India. I think it's about 700, 800 crores this year, but I think that number is going to skyrocket and become like 10 times larger in maybe the next 3 years or something like that. On social media, people are talking about how much money they've made trading cryptos, how much money they've made trading, equity or investing and stuff like that. I will also tell you this: 8 out of 10 times when people are claiming that they made a lot of money is probably untrue. But that trend will continue because penetration is so low in India. Pre-pandemic, we probably had 1.5% of the population of our country which had ever bought equity, either directly or indirectly. That number, I would assume, has gone up through the pandemic to about 2.25%. In the Western countries, more developed economies, it's probably closer to 40-50%. So I wouldn't be surprised if that 2% goes up to 5-10%. Just talking about circumstances today, inflation, we are told, is at about 6%, right? Like consumer price inflation, for example. If you look at the margins that FMCG companies are operating on, if you look at the price of crude, steel, copper, aluminium, anything, you've seen that these prices have rallied by as much as 70, 80, 100% in the last year or two. So it would be fair to assume that inflation on the ground is a lot higher than 6%. I would say practically it's probably around 10%. If the risk-free rates in our country are about 4.5-5%, and inflation is so much higher, you kind of lose money by keeping your money in a bank, by keeping it in cash, or earning 5-6% of a fixed deposit. That does not make you money anymore. In fact, it loses you money against inflation. So people do have to find alternate avenues to allocate that capital just to retain true wealth. And in the avenues that are available in India, I think you have real estate, you have gold, you have equity. I think equities, in my opinion, on top of the pile, just by virtue of how liquid it is, how favorable taxation is. Anywhere else you pay 20-30% tax. Here you pay long-term capital gain tax of only about 10% if you hold a stock for over a year. So for all those reasons, I think the number of people coming into equity will continue to go up. At what pace is probably determined by that FOMO element. If the markets were to correct 20% next year, instead of going from 2 to 2.5%, we probably go from 2 to 2.1 or 2.2%. But as long as people are making money somewhere, they're going to keep coming in, and they're going to tell their friends about it, and they're going to exaggerate and boast and make it sound like they made 10 times that they actually did, and more people will come in.
So apart from building wealth, apart from company, apart from taxation and money, do you think that it's really important for young people to start giving back to society as well? And if yes, at what time, at what point in life somebody should start supporting causes? And how do you decide if you support any cause? How do you decide, like, this is the cause I want to support?
I was about to call you to ask you for some money for a charity, but yeah, I think you should start early. See, I'll do a little bit of like promotion for a new thing we have started, but it's called YIPP. It's called Young India Philanthropy Pledge. We are kind of pushing it in the startup ecosystem, where startup founders who have done well early in life decide to allocate 25% of their wealth to charity through their lifetimes, a minimum of 25%. Most often you realize they will end up doing a lot more than that. We've started our first project. It's in Karnataka, in a district called Haveri, where we are taking about 300 high schools and kind of like renovating them, improving infrastructure, the teaching staff capabilities and stuff like that. It's a very interesting project, but there are only young people involved in it and young people paying for it. So I think more young people have to come on board early, participate. We have kind of like put our focus around climate change and things around that, because I think we at some point figured that if there is no planet which is in a survivable condition, what is the point of doing the what is the point of treating the symptoms of a bad planet, or if of a planet which is no longer conducive for living? You have to actually work on the main problem. I don't think we'll make an iota of a difference to the climate change problem, but I think if we can encourage 1,000 other people to replicate what we are doing, we'll probably, put together have some kind of an effect.
So, like whenever, let's say you support a cause of someone else's cause, and you write them a check, okay, I want to support this thing. How involved are you beyond writing a check?
With YIPP, I am.
Okay.
Other stuff, I'm not. So Raj, the way I look at it, right? Like, I'm 35 years old. I'm not married. I have no kids. I have no interest in, being 60 years old and dying with X amount of money in my bank account or something like that, right? Like, if you have no dependents, and if you're happy with the lifestyle you already have, and you're not like looking to buy something extraordinarily big and stuff like that, you have to utilize that money you accumulated somewhere. And I think you feel happier doing these charity projects than you feel doing vainer projects, like buying yourself a really large home, or an automobile or a watch or something like that. So it also makes you feel good, and at the end of the day, we all do whatever we do for validation and feeling good, right? And this falls in line with that.
People who understood the internet has built fortune in the last decade, okay? Whatever industry they might be in, if they've collaborated or combined their business with the power of internet, they have built fortunes. What is the next big thing according to you? And if people start understanding this next big thing, they'll have a better chance of success. So I think it's gonna be for you with fintech and climate tech. Correct me if I'm wrong.
In a way, yeah, but I've been a big critic of everything crypto, blockchain, meta for a long time now, but I find myself warming up to the metaverse. I think there's something there, and I think in the next decade or so, I don't mean go buy an NFT of a bunny rabbit and pay $100,000 for it. I don't mean that at all. But I was talking to somebody recently, a friend of mine called Ajit, who's the Facebook CEO for India, and he was demoing how a meeting will change from being two-dimensional like it is today on Zoom, or how it used to be in person, to how it will feel like it is actually in person on the metaverse. So I feel like people will be plugged in a lot longer. It will have ancillary effects which will kind of benefit the environment. You don't travel from point A to B. You help climate change. You kind of like reduce the traffic problem, the pollution problem, many ancillary advantages. But I'm giving you one use case of the metaverse, but I think much will change there, and I think that's a really cool and interesting idea for the next decade.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. It was pleasure talking to you like always. Thanks for giving all the ball of wisdom or the pockets and nuggets of wisdom for everyone who's there. I'm sure a lot of people look up to you and they want to achieve significant things and would take things like your advice seriously, that to focus on every other thing and every other aspect of life as well, rather than focusing on just one, in order to feel more content and less insecure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raj.
All right, thank you so much for that, Nikhil and Raj, for that lovely conversation. But with that, let's give away some more felicitations. In entertainment, our winner is an actress who made her mark through her memorable performance in Netflix's Bulbul in 2020. Please say hello to model turned YouTuber turned actor Tripti Dimri. Congratulations, Tripti.
I want to thank Forbes India for recognizing my efforts as an actor and giving me a position in the category of Forbes 30 under 30. It's always been on my wish list, and I'm really, really glad that I get to be a part of it. So thank you so much. When you enter this field, or when you enter any field, you make a list of things that you want to achieve, right? And this was definitely one thing in my list. I wanted to be in this category, and thankfully, I got a chance to be on the list. My parents were very, very happy. My dad couldn't stop talking about it. And in the industry also, I could see a change because, this is a serious platform. And once your name gets, attached to things like, say, a Forbes 30 under 30 category, people, they do take notice of you and they start taking you seriously as an actor. So I think that's what happened with me in my case. After my name, was there in the list, I started getting more work opportunities, and I started getting, meteor roles, and I think, it helped a great deal.
All right, moving on to fashion now, we felicitate a designer who is breaking away from the oversaturated bridal wear market and is tapping into the territory of creating understated luxury for middle-aged women. Karan Thorani, founder and creative director of Thorani, is our next achiever. From working with 4 craftsmen to scaling up to a company with 200 employees and opening a standalone flagship store in 2020 in New Delhi, Thorani's business has seen a meteoric ride in the last 2 years. Congratulations, Karan, for this win.
Thank you so much, Forbes India, for the honor. For me, I think getting into the Forbes India 30 under 30 list means a lot. It was always a dream because I come from a space of entrepreneurship as much as I come from design, and it holds a really valuable space for me because it's a big sign of knowing that whatever we are doing as a label and as a company is in the right direction, and the kind of space that we've generated for our team and the employment that my company creates holds some value. So it means a lot. Thank you so much.
Let's move on to the finance category now. Our next achiever stint at bankbazaar.com and Amazon helped him grasp the nuances of the payment space. Akash Sinha, co-founder and CEO of Cashfree, is our next achiever. Cashfree, which is a profitable startup, enables businesses to collect and send money around the clock and across the globe. It works with more than 55,000 clients and works closely with banks such as ICICI, HDFC, Kotak Mahindra and Yes Bank, all to build the core payments and banking infrastructure. Congratulations, Akash.
So it feels really special to be part of Forbes India 30 under 30 list. I think Forbes is a esteemed publication, and getting listed at Forbes India 30 under 30 is a great achievement by any individual, be it an artist, a sports person, or an entrepreneur. So when you spend many years of your younger age pursuing a passion and you achieve something meaningful, and then an additional appreciation like getting listed at Forbes India 30 under 30 acts like a good booster and makes you want to go for more. Yeah, personally, it's a great feeling. I think, as I said, right, I mean, it's a great validation for the impact we're making, like in the world, right? In the last year, we as a company has grown tremendously, right? In the last year was great for payments business and very much for Cashfree too. So company has almost grown double in terms of employee count. Our customer base has grown more than 95%, right? I think we onboarded more than 300 people since the onset of pandemic. And we also plan to double our headcount, in the next year.
So next up, we felicitate an entrepreneur who is creating seamless banking solutions for India's bottom of the pyramid. Santino Agarwal, Deputy CEO of Pesalo Digital, is our next achiever. Now, Pesalo is a leading financial services company which focuses on microcredit. It provides various financial solutions to low-income families and term loans and working capital support to traders as well as medium-sized enterprises in India. Congratulations, Santino.
Thank you so much to Forbes India for giving me the opportunity to be one of the participants and winners for Forbes 30 under 30 2021. It's a really proud feeling, and it gives emphasis and it gives validation to the team and the company for the value creation they're doing in this domain. The recognition has helped me with a lot. Has, like I said before, has helped me with three things in a big way. Number one is that the motivation to keep improving, to keep evolving, and to keep adding stacks to our banking platform for the underbanked has obviously improved, and the motivation to create that change is there. Number two is the brand awareness. It's increased by quite a lot. We do have people who are coming to us, who are approaching us a lot more and are aware about the brand a lot more.
Our next recognition comes in from the category of food and hospitality. Orko Bhattacharjee, director at CXO Office, Oyo Hotels and Homes, led Oyo's COVID-19 response communications with stakeholders. He also leads strategic initiatives, steers crucial external partnerships with multinationals, and manages discussions related to the boards of directors and shareholders. Congratulations, Orko, for this win.
Thank you, Forbes India, for featuring me on the 30 under 30 list. It's a great honor. Thank you. However, ultimately making it to the Forbes India under 30 list is a great reminder to me that anything is possible, even if you think it's impossible. But perhaps what's most important is that you have to believe that you can make it possible and that anyone can change, evolve, and become better.
Okay, moving on. The next felicitation is from the category of healthcare. This startup created India's first contactless health monitor to track chronic cardiac conditions, hypertension, as well as respiratory disorders. Mudit Dantwade and Gaurav Panchani, co-founders, CEO and CTO of Dozy, are our next achievers. Congratulations to you, Mudit and Gaurav.
Thanks a lot, Forbes India. This is a very important achievement, I would say, because ever since, I think I know of myself, I always dreamt about that, I wanted to be on this Forbes India 30 under 30 list. And it's kind of a tick mark to that dream coming true. Of course, a long journey still, a big task list to be done. But, this does consolidates that we are doing something right in the right direction, and thanks a lot for acknowledging our efforts with this award. Thank you.
It's a great honor to be on the Forbes India 30 under 30 list. This wouldn't have been possible without the entire team at Dozy. The impact that we have created cannot be attributed to just one or two people. It's the entire 200 plus team that works at Dozy day in and day out to enable our solutions in healthcare. Obviously, also, it wouldn't have been possible without the support of my family, my wife and my parents. And I'd like to thank each and everyone at Dozy and my family for the success. And also, I would love to thank the jury and members at Forbes India. Being on the Forbes India 30 under 30 list adds a lot of value, not just to the company and our work, but to me personally as well. First and foremost, it adds a lot of credibility and it recognizes all of the impact that we have created in the health tech space. And it recognizes our effort to modernize and digitize and completely revolutionize India's healthcare ecosystem, and not just India now, and going beyond India also.
We now have a very special discussion with some very, very special women. This evening, we're joined by two distinguished women athletes who have brought immense pride to India, and they will discuss the trials and tribulations of women in sports in India today. Without any further ado, please welcome Indian women's football captain Ashalata Devi and Indian cricketer Smriti Mandhana to this discussion moderated by Forbes India principal correspondent Rucha Sharma.
Thank you, Pavitra. Now it's time for a very special panel discussion. I'm in the company of two distinguished athletes on the Indian sports field today. We are here to discuss what it means to lead a team in a competitive arena of field games. These women have broken the glass ceiling in the field long dominated by men. they are creating a bright future for other women athletes as well. Their struggles of achieving it are far from over, but their journey has been inspiring people who want to achieve something in their lives. Please welcome one of the best defenders in Asia and the captain of Indian women's football team that has won the SAFF Women's Championship 5 times in a row, Ashalata Devi. And Smriti Mandana, opening batsman for Indian women's cricket team, a nominee for this year's ICC Women's Cricketer of the Year award, and the only Indian woman to score 100 in ODIs and test matches. Welcome, ladies. पैंडेमिक के बावजूद आपका 2021 बहुत अच्छा गुजरा था. जैसे इंडियन फुटबॉल टीम ने ब्राजील और मिडिल ईस्ट के बहुत सक्सेसफुल टूर किए. स्मृति, आपने ऑस्ट्रेलिया टूर में हाईएस्ट एवर इंडिविजुअल टेस्ट स्कोर खड़ा किया. तो प्लीज मुझे बताइए कि देश की जर्सी पहनने के बाद अपना बेस्ट परफॉर्मेंस देना कैसे लगता है. आशा, आपसे शुरू करते हैं.
अभी हम लोग ने ब्राजील टूर में गया था और मुझे ऐसे फील हुआ कि हमें जब से मैंने फुटबॉल खेलना शुरू किया और इंडिया की जर्सी पहन के ग्राउंड पे उतरते तो मेरे लिए बहुत अलग फील होते हैं और मुझे बहुत चीजें मोटिवेट मिलता है और जो ग्राउंड के अंदर अपने नेशनल एंथेम्स गाने का जब मौका मिलता है और बहुत सारी चीजें में हमें मेरे को जब ग्राउंड के अंदर एंट्री होता है तो मेरे को गुस्बम आते हैं कि मैं अपने कंट्री के लिए कुछ चीजें कर रही हूँ और मैं खुद को फील होती हूँ कि उस चीजें को और उस मूवमेंट को जो हम 90 मिनट खेलते हैं उस मूवमेंट को मैं सबसे लाइफ का सबसे बेस्ट टाइम और उसमें मैं परफॉर्म करना हमेशा चाहती हूँ और मेरे लिए कंट्री का जर्सी पहनना सबसे बड़ी बात है और उस जर्सी पहनने के बाद बहुत सारे अलग फील होते हैं. तो मुझे कंट्री की जर्सी पहनना और अपने नेशनल एंथेम गाना वो मेरे लाइफ के सबसे बेस्ट फीलिंग है.
स्मृति?
Yeah, I think same like Asha, what you said. I think वही चीज है जो सब एथलीट्स फील करते हैं एंड आई थिंक she explained it very beautifully the way she did. So मुझे भी यही almost यही feelings होती है कि whenever I put on the jersey, whenever the India is written, it just feels मतलब बहुत अलग feeling आती है. ऐसा लगता है कि you kind of forget everything what is happening around you. You just want to go out there, win matches for India. I think that is the biggest motivation whenever you put on the jersey that you're going out and you're representing 1.3 billion people. So आपको match में 100 क्या like 150% देना है. So I think putting on that jersey is something really special and of course in the COVID time सबसे ज्यादा जो चीज मिस करी थी मैंने वो jersey पहन के मैच खेलने जाना.
आप दोनों अपने अपने खेलों से पिछले 10 सालों से भी ज्यादा समय से जुड़े हुए हैं. आप जिस तरीके से खेलते आए हैं, आपने एक नई जनरेशन के लिए इंस्पिरेशन बन चुके हैं. आपकी वजह से लड़कियां आज स्पोर्ट्स को एक फुल टाइम करियर के रूप में भी देख रही हैं, राइट? पर 10 साल पहले जब आप शुरुआत कर रहे थे तब आपके लिए फैसिलिटीज या इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कितना अलग था?
जब मैंने खेलना शुरू किया था तब इतना अच्छा नहीं था और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर भी इतना अच्छा नहीं था. बट उस टाइम पे भी मैं मणिपुर से बिलोंग करती हूँ लेकिन वहाँ पे काफी अलग चीजें मैंने देखने के लिए मिला है क्योंकि बाकी स्टेट में फुटबॉल को लेके इतना पॉपुलर नहीं था पर मणिपुर में बहुत फुटबॉल नहीं बाकी गेम में भी बहुत अलग थे मणिपुर. तो अभी काफी चेंजेस हुई है बट उस टाइम पे मुझे एक स्टार्टिंग करियर में मुझे मिलना चाहिए वो फैसिलिटी सब कुछ मिला था मणिपुर में. बट अभी काफी चेंजेस हुई है कि हमारे बहुत सारी चीजें मेडिकल टर्म्स उस टाइम पे हमें फिजियो नहीं थे और हमें वो जैसे हमें अपने परफॉर्मेंस को इम्प्रूव करने के लिए जीपीएस स्ट्रेप और बहुत सारे चीजें नहीं मिलते थे पर अभी बहुत सारी चीजें मिला और उसकी वजह से हमें अभी जो भी यंगस्टर आ रहे हैं उनके लिए बहुत लकी है, वो लोग इतना कम उम्र में सारे चीजें यूज करने के लिए मिल रहे हैं और काफी चीजें में इम्प्रूव कर रहे हैं।
स्मृति?
Yeah, I think जब 10 years back I started playing cricket. I started playing cricket way before that. But जब शुरू करा था, I think इतना facilities नहीं थे, और more than that, I think opportunities were not as much. पूरे इंडिया like cricket को like it's a religion in India, but बहुत लोगों को ये पता भी नहीं था कि women's की भी एक cricket team होती है. So the opportunities and all those things were very different. And facilities wise, I think ऐसा बहुत मेजर फर्क नहीं था फैसिलिटीज वाइज. डेफिनेटली अभी 10 years डाउन द लाइन इट्स एन डिफरेंट फील्ड. बट मेरे काफी टीममेट्स की स्टोरीज सुनती थी. उनको कभी कभी बॉयज के एकेडमीज में उनको परमिशन नहीं मिलती थी कि लड़की है, यू वोंट बी एक्सेप्टेड इन दिस एकेडमी. सो आई थिंक अभी सारी ये सब चीजें कभी नहीं होती. आई थिंक अभी जब लड़की आती है तब दे आर ट्रीटेड वे मोर स्पेशल. दे आर लाइक नहीं नहीं, यू नो, दिस इज so that's the motivation which we had as a team. When I came into the team 7 years back, वही motivation था कि we have to get as many girls playing cricket, and people should know that women's cricket team exists also. And I think ये journey continue रहेगी, and more the number of girls pick up bat and ball and start playing cricket, I think it will be a win situation for the current Indian team.
स्मृति, बहुत कम समय के लिए से, पर 2019 में आप इंडियन T20 टीम के कैप्टन बने थे. आप उस टाइम यंगेस्ट कीपर ऑफ द T20 टीम थे. तो वो कैप्टनसी की जो जिम्मेदारी थी आपकी, क्या उसने आपका खेलने का नजरिया या खेल की तरफ देखने का नजरिया बदल दिया है?
जब फर्स्ट टाइम व्हेन आई वाज लीडिंग, और इवन आई थिंक जब वाइस कैप्टनशिप मिली थी मुझे T20 फॉर्मेट की, तब डेफिनेटली इनिशियली इट वाज अबाउट मोर ऑफ इंटरेक्शन विद द टीममेट्स. ज्यादा हमको उनसे बात करना पड़ता है, ज्यादा उनसे you should have a good bond with them ताकि they are very comfortable to come to you and tell them their problems और जो भी उनको चाहिए. So that was a conscious effort which I had to make in like whenever I was made the vice captain and the captain. And I think towards my own game, I think वो मैंने ज़्यादा change करा नहीं, because I don't think that being a captain I will bat any differently, because I will bat the way I want to bat. So definitely other ways काफी other दूसरे responsibilities आए थे in the terms of how to handle all the team or team members and the support staff. But for my own game, I thought it's better for me to just do what I can do the best, is just go out and bat without any pressure of captainship.
स्मृति, आपके स्पोर्ट्स की विजिबिलिटी बाकी स्पोर्ट्स से काफी ज्यादा है, राइट? सो इसका मतलब आपका फैन फॉलोइंग, फैन बेस भी बहुत बड़ा है. सो ये विजिबिलिटी, ये पॉपुलैरिटी के साथ में परफॉर्मेंस का प्रेशर भी बढ़ जाता है. तो इससे आपको तकलीफ होती है या आप इसको एनकरेजमेंट की तरह लेते हो?
Well, actually the thing is that before 2017 World Cup, not many people followed women's cricket, but of course जब 2017 World Cup हुआ, and all of a sudden there was a lot of interest in women's cricket, and people followed our matches very closely, appreciated us, criticized us. So it was initially both first maybe 1 month it was hard to see, because ऐसा हो रहा था कि अगर स्कोर नहीं करा तो how do we face people. But I think you just get through that period. It's just for 1 month, and then you realize that all these things are not very important. As long as you're doing well for India, it doesn't, and you know that you're giving your 100%. These things don't really matter to me. And for me, I think my only funda is like, अगर मैं appreciation ले सकती हूँ तो I should be able to take criticism as well. So I like it that people only criticize जिससे वो expect करते हैं कि वो हमें स्कोर करके दे या मैच जिता के दे. सो आई थिंक आई जस्ट टेक इट पॉजिटिवली, बोथ ऑफ थिंग्स, appreciation or criticism, and try and motivate myself to get better.
राइट. आशा, इंडियन वुमेन्स फुटबॉल टीम की पॉपुलैरिटी अभी क्रिकेट या टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स के बाद हॉकी के कंपैरिजन में काफी कम है, राइट? तो इसको बढ़ाने के लिए और टीम को आगे ले जाने के लिए आपको किस तरीके की हेल्प चाहिए? सरकार से, कंपनी से, स्पॉन्सर से, आपके फैन बेस से?
एग्जैक्टली ये सब तो हमें भी चाहिए, बट हमें कुछ चीजें अच्छा परफॉर्म करके और कुछ चीजें हासिल करके दिखाना पड़ेगा, तब ये सारी चीजें मिल जाएंगे. मेरे मेरे बोलने का तरीका ये है कि हमें एक लेवल में और एक अच्छा प्रूव करना पड़ेगा कि हम भी एक बेटर स्पोर्ट्स में खेलते हैं और हम अच्छा लेवल में खेल रहे हैं और हमें कुछ चीजें अचीव करना बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। तो जब तक हमें अच्छा चीजें अचीव नहीं करेंगे तब तक हम किसी से एक्सपेक्ट नहीं करते कि हमारे लिए ये स्पॉन्सर मिलेगा, कोई हेल्प करेगा, ये सारी चीजें। पर चाहते तो हम हमारे इंडिया गवर्नमेंट ये सब हमें अभी तक हमारे लिए बहुत सारी चीजें में हेल्प कर रहे हैं। हमारे एसोसिएशन और बाकी एनजीओ सब लोग हमारे काफी चीजें में हेल्प कर रहे हैं। पर जब तक मुझे लगता है कि हमारी इंडिया का फैंस फॉलोअर्स इतना भरेंगे हमारे लिए और अच्छा मोटिवेट उनसे मिलेंगे तो हमें भी और परफॉर्म करने में और उनकी सपोर्ट हमारे लिए बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है क्योंकि ये टूर्नामेंट और हमारे फ्यूचर में भी बहुत मोटिवेट मिलेगा। सो सपोर्ट तो हर जगह से चाहिए बट उसके लिए हमें भी एक अचीवमेंट करना बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। सो यही बोलना चाहती
हूँ। आप दोनों मेगन रैपिनो को जानते ही होंगे, वन ऑफ द बेस्ट फुटबॉलर्स इन द वर्ल्ड। वो कई दिनों से वुमेन एथलीट के इक्वल पे की मांग कर रही हैं और इसी बारे में मैं आप लोगों से भी पूछना चाहती हूँ। स्मृति, आप और आपकी टीममेट्स BBL द 100 में बेस्ट परफॉर्मेंस दे रहे हो, रिकॉर्ड्स ब्रेक कर रहे हो, बट अभी भी IPL के लेवल का एक्सपोजर आप लोगों के लिए नहीं है इंडिया में डोमेस्टिकली। और आशा, आपके स्पोर्ट्स में इंडियन वुमेन्स लीग तो है बट उसकी पॉपुलैरिटी ISL की तरह नहीं है। तो अब जब आपके पास स्पॉन्सर्स हैं, गवर्नमेंट का सपोर्ट मिल रहा है, फैन बेस का सपोर्ट मिल रहा है, तो क्या ये बदलाव आप लोगों की अर्निंग्स में भी दिखता है?
एग्जैक्टली हमें बहुत सारे कंट्री में इक्वल पे के लिए लड़ रहे हैं बट मैं एज ए फुटबॉलर और मैं यही बोलना चाहूंगी कि हमें मतलब एक मेंस और वुमेन्स में मुझे ये सब चीजें में वो कंपेयर नहीं करना चाहती सच बोलूं तो, क्योंकि मुझे ऐसे फील होता है कि मेन फुटबॉल में कोई भी टूर्नामेंट खेलते हैं तो उसमें बहुत सारे वो मिलता है स्पॉन्सरशिप और बहुत सारे पैसे और बहुत सारे NGO से हेल्प, बहुत चीजें मिलता है। पर वुमेन्स फुटबॉल की टूर्नामेंट में स्पॉन्सरशिप नहीं मिलता और बहुत सारी चीजें हमें नहीं मिलता है। तो उसकी वजह से हमारे इक्वल पे में भी बहुत दिक्कत हो जाते हैं कि हम बोल नहीं पाते कि हमें इस टूर्नामेंट में हमें क्यों पैसे कम दे रहे हैं और हमारे पे इतना कम क्यों है। क्योंकि जब तक वुमेन्स फुटबॉल का स्पॉन्सरशिप और NGO से सपोर्ट ये सब नहीं मिलेंगे तब तक हम इक्वल पे के लिए नहीं बोल पाते और बोल भी नहीं सकती कि हमें क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है। इसलिए मैं रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहती हूँ कि सारे NGOs और स्पॉन्सरशिप सब लोग वुमेन्स फुटबॉल या वुमेन्स क्रिकेट में भी सपोर्ट करेंगे तो हमें एक इक्वल पे के लिए लड़ने में और हेल्प करेगा और लड़ना नहीं भी लड़े तो भी अपने आप आ जाएगा, मेरे को ऐसे फील होता है।
स्मृति?
Yeah, I think so. So we are bridging the gap between that equal pay. Of course, what we had 5 years back, it's काफी different है अभी. And for me, I think the only sport which has bridged the gap beautifully is tennis. But it took them, I think, more than like 60, 70 years to do that. So for me, I think we have just started the process now. And you don't have to hurry that, okay, chalo, you don't have to be too immature to say that, okay, we have to start it just right there. And so for me, it is just it's a process, and it'll be a process for a very long time. That that the day will come that the thing will happen on its own. Because last World Cup when we played and we got 86,000 people watching us in stadium. So if those things sort of happen, I don't think we'll have to fight for anything or sort of. It is just going to eventually happen. So my thing is that of course it's a process. So for us as a team, I think to win matches for India and eventually win a World Cup for India, that's the main motivation. And I'm sure if we follow our processes, these things will be taken care of.
Thank you so much, ladies, for this insightful conversation. It has been a delight. We at Forbes India wish you all the very best for a successful and eventful journey ahead. Over to you, Pavitra.
All right, thank you for that peek into your life, Ashalata, as well as Smriti, and thank you for your contribution to Indian sports. Thank you, Rucha, for taking us through that conversation as well. Our next set of awards coming right up from the category of industry and manufacturing. The recognition goes to co-founders who are disrupting the personal care market with India's first hair and skincare brand with caffeine products. Saurabh Singhal, Vaishali Gupta, Mohit Jain, co-founders of M Caffeine, are the achievers in Forbes India 30 under 30 industry and manufacturing category. Congratulations, guys.
Getting a recognition from a renowned global forum like Forbes India has helped to boost the confidence in what we are doing. It has also made my team and my professional partners proud to be a part of an institution like M Caffeine, which can give you a platform where you can reach at this level.
I think the feeling is thrilling. It's amazing since the last 1 year, and it has been still the same. When we started M Caffeine, we knew that we are doing something different, something innovative in the personal care space. And our customers' love already gave us that confidence that we are doing the right thing for Indians' personal care market. But after getting featured in Forbes 30 under 30, which wasn't definitely something we expected on the first day of launching M Caffeine, but yes, when we were a part of it, it was great. And I think that has been a great testimony for our customers, for our partners, and for the entire M Caffeine team.
So thanks Forbes India for featuring us in Forbes 30 under 30 list, right? So it feels really good to be a part of this list. The first thing I would say is getting things done attitude. So no matter what kind of hurdles or what kind of challenges comes your way, right? And so having that getting things done wala attitude actually helped us a lot, or I would say was a key element for me. And apart from that, I think we are very data driven, data oriented, right? So those other things also helped us. I would say a key element of our success.
The next category we're looking at is music, and the award goes to the most celebrated and one of the most streamed indie artists on Spotify. Rithvis Ravastava, the 2017 hit indie number Ur Gaye put Rithvis on the Indian music map. Since then, he's had multiple successful releases and has had over 200 million streams across platforms. Congratulations for this, Rithvis.
Just want to thank Forbes India for the opportunity to have me on the Forbes 30 under 30. It's lovely to be here. Thank you so much. I think it's pretty cool that I've been featured on this list. In a very humbling sense, it has validated my work that I've put in the last 10 years, So just really, really grateful to that. And while I say that, I also look forward to so much more. I think it's just the beginning. So yeah, it's like a stepping stone of sorts.
The next recognition goes to an artist who has a unique style. She's one of the most recognized artists in the English music scene in India, Malvika Manoj, aka Mali, singer, songwriter, as well as composer. Her song Mundane has ranked #1 in the Euro Indie Music chart. Congratulations, Malvika.
Hi, this is Malvika Manoj, and I'm a singer, songwriter, and composer. I really want to thank Forbes India for putting me on the 30 under 30 list. It is a huge honor and a great privilege to be recognized for what I do. The most amazing reaction was from my parents because, for parents of an artist, it's usually very difficult to understand really what their career is about and whether or not there's a future doing something like independent music. And for my parents, it was a big, flag of honor to share it with their friends and to talk about it. And I think it also gave them a little bit of validation for the fact that maybe what I'm doing actually does have some potential and a future.
NGOs and social entrepreneurship is our next category for the evening, and the felicitation goes to a leader who has built a network of entrepreneurs and mentors in India's Tier 2 cities to help founders beyond metro cities get access to market and funding. Our next achiever is Piyush Verma, founder and CEO from Manoj Labs. Congratulations, Piyush.
Hi everyone, my name is Piyush. I'm the founder of Manoj Labs. Manoj Labs focuses on supporting entrepreneurs and innovators from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities of India. Our goal is to support innovators and entrepreneurs from remote corners of India and to democratize entrepreneurship. I was a part of the Forbes India 30 under 30 list in 2021 under the social impact category. I'm really thankful to Forbes India for giving me this great recognition.
Our next felicitation for NGOs and social entrepreneurship goes to the duo that's making education and careers accessible to India's transgender community. Neelam Jain, Nishant Agarwal, co-founders, CEO and COO of Periphery, are our next achievers. Congratulations to Periphery.
Hi, this is Neelam Jain from Periphery. We were fortunate to be listed in the Forbes 30 under 30 for the year 2021. A big thank you to Forbes India for making this possible. This still feels surreal. It still feels a dream come true. So thank you for the opportunity. I think the only thing that we were led by was to solve a problem. We were very clear from the beginning that we have to find solutions around it, no matter how difficult it was. And it was very, very difficult. But the need to constantly look at the problem and not look at it in a way that this is the reality and this is how it is going to be. But we wanted to change that reality. Transgender community deserves to live the life like how all of us do. And for us, creating employment avenues, creating livelihood opportunities, and bringing an inclusive atmosphere for them to thrive was the most crucial.
Science and innovation is our second last category this evening. Today, we recognize a space scientist come artist who was selected to send her work to the moon as a part of an international moon gallery project. Priyanka Das Rajkakati, PhD student, ISAE Sopero and artist, is our next achiever. A very big congratulations to you, Priyanka.
I think it was quite a defining point in my life because it does give you a lot of recognition. And for me, recognition is not the end goal. It's just an enabler for your future projects. And just after having received the Forbes 30 under 30 award, I also was asked to apply for something called the Karman Fellowship, which is for recognizing space professionals at the age of 45. And I applied, and I had the great honor of being selected. And through that project, I had several other projects that branched out. And it's been, I would say, thanks to the Forbes 30 under 30 nomination.
Ladies and gentlemen, our last category for this evening is sports, and the proud achiever is none other than India's rising star who is making his name in the big leagues of international cricket and whom we already heard from earlier this evening. Shubman Gill, congratulations to you, Shubman, on this big, big win.
it means a lot for me to be on Forbes India, because it's one of those magazines that has really influenced the world, and that I really liked when I was a kid and I used to read it. And I was really happy when I got to know that I'll be on the cover of Forbes India 30 under 30. The impact that these recognitions have on me is, when it's really a confidence and a motivational booster when you get to be on Forbes India, and when other people recognize you of your performances and of your success. It's really motivates you to do well, and it motivates you to achieve more things in life, and it really boosts your confidence, and you would want to do well for the country.
I hope you're all having a good time this evening, and we saved the best for the last. In a challenging year, our class of 30 under 30 was looking for mentorship. And since the buzzword in 2021 was unicorn, specifically Indian unicorns, who better to mentor our young achievers than the man with the Midas touch? Please welcome Mr. Bikchandani to talk to our 30 under 30 achievers on how to become a unicorn, and more importantly, what you must do once you get there, in conversation with Forbes India senior sub-editor Naini Thakkar.
Hi everyone, hope you're all having fun. So we've saved the best for the last. Today we have with us one of India's most successful startup founders. And in an era of the internet business boom, he was the OG, the pioneer in India, Sanjeev Bikchandani, the founder and executive vice chairman of InfoEdge. In the course of his 30-year entrepreneurial journey, he has built a reputation as someone who has paved the way for Indian startups to come into their own, as a path maker and now an investor with insights and support, especially during the downturns. He will be joining us today to share his insights about becoming a successful startup and unicorn, and what do you do once you get there. Thank you, Mr. Bikchandani, for being here. I'm sure this will be a very insightful conversation for all our young entrepreneurs and professionals. So class of 2021, please send in your questions. We will address them towards the end of the session.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Nani.
Thank you, sir. So why don't we get started with the questions? You quit your job in 1990 to set up a business. Clearly, it was a huge risk. What gave you the strength to take this plunge? And how was starting up back then different as compared to what it is like to do?
So I think I was actually mortally afraid. I was terrified. I'm from a middle class salaried background. My father was in the government. My mom's a homemaker. Nobody in the family was in business. So it took me a lot of time to sort of muster the courage. But look, if you want it badly enough, you will do it. And that's what happened to me. I wanted it badly enough, so I did it. In the beginning, I was really scared. I was paralyzed with fear. But after a couple of years of being an entrepreneur, I began to love the independence and the freedom. And so I got by. But, in those days, there was no venture capital. There were no role models. There was, very hard to come by, any kind of bank financing for a services business. So you essentially had to break even in order to survive if you didn't have any savings, which I did not. So I think it was fundamentally lack of capital, which constrained your opportunities, it sort of guided you, and you somehow got by. But, bootstrapping has its advantages. You learned how to do more with less. You learned how to make revenue. You thought very long and hard about risks. You thought long and hard about revenue models. And therefore, you came out with products and services that you knew would have a market. They would sell, where the customers would pay in advance. So I think you stretched a bit and you managed.
And 2021 saw the birth of about 42 unicorns. I think that's the highest ever for any year, particularly in India. Now, in your opinion, what is the key to becoming a successful startup? And is unicorn status synonymous with success?
So, look, I would advise young founders to take this unicorn business with a pinch of salt. Remember, the Fed has infused $4 to $5 trillion into the global economy since March 2020, ever since the pandemic started. And this influx of capital, this infusion of capital is unprecedented. Now, and this liquidity has traveled everywhere, including to India, private markets, public markets, perhaps not so much to China because China has fallen out of favor in the US. But this liquidity has meant asset price inflation everywhere, public markets and private markets. Now, without this liquidity, how many unicorns would there be? I don't know. But when I see the kind of galloping valuations, I would say take them with a pinch of salt, focus on your customers, focus on revenue, focus on margins, focus on unit economics, focus on the possibility that, at least keep in the back of your head that, look, what will happen if this liquidity dries up and money is no longer so freely or easily available? Will I still have a viable business? And if you stay disciplined and you keep your eye on the ball and understand your customers better, I think you'll be all right, whether or not capital is available.
In your opinion, in that case, how does one measure the success of a startup? Would it be valuation, scale, market share, profitability, or something completely different?
So it's like this. If you notice all the press, the media, even Forbes prints, the only numbers being talked about are valuations. Nobody is talking about sales growth, revenue, margins, profit, EBITDA. Is it positive EBITDA, negative EBITDA? Is that going up? Is that going down? And that, to me, is problematic. If you focus on just one variable, which is valuations, your business may or may not be healthy, but the valuations are going up, and that's of some concern to me.
And you've seen your share of crisis situation, over the last 3 decades. Be it, in the beginning, the start to, find funding, the dot-com crash, and more recently, even the COVID pandemic. What has given you the inspiration to keep going through it all? And what are the key learnings for you from each of these tough situations?
So I think what keeps you going are your customers and your colleagues, right? And to some extent, your shareholders. But basically, you work with people, you work for people, you work for your customers, you work with your teams, you work for your shareholders, your investors. And if you've got good people around you on all sides, I think you are really motivated to work. And that's what's worked for me.
And speaking about the pandemic, we're all living in extremely uncertain times, and we have a bunch of young entrepreneurs watching this today who've made it to this list by carrying through these tough times. But I'm sure they would still like to know, is there really a point of having, these long-term visions or 5-year plans at all? Or do you just plan on the go?
Well, you got to do both, obviously. You got to have some sort of longer-term notion, idea, plan, potential target, some number, some metrics, something. And then you got to focus on working for today, working for the week, working for the month, working for the quarter, right? You got to do both. So the long run is actually a series of interconnected short runs. Number one. Number two is, second, I'd like to say congratulations to all those who made it to this list. But you know what? I never made it to any list until much, much later. So the list you got to make it to. Are you a preferred brand, preferred product, preferred solution for your customers? Are you on your customers list? That's the most important thing, right? It's much more important than any other list. And I never won a business plan contest. I never entered a business plan contest. I was never in a 30 under 30 or 40 under 40. I never tried for anything. We just focus on our customers. And that's the advice I'd give you. So it's a great achievement. Now focus on your customers.
The fact that, unicorn is the buzzword right now, and you rightly said that, one should take that with a pinch of salt. But, I think that's what everyone wants to know. How do you become that? So is there like a mantra or like a shortcut or any sort of advice you have for our...
My advice is to build sustainable value. Your valuation in the long run will be, an outcome of the value you built. In the short run, you can get a valuation. You can sell a promise to investors and you'll get a valuation if you sell a promise well. But if you don't live up to that promise, then after 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, you will perhaps lose that valuation. So focus more on building sustainable value. Valuation is a natural outcome of building sustainable value.
And often it's easy for founders to kind of get carried away with the big round of funding or, the unicorn status of being successful to an extent, How does one kind of stay grounded and focused on the long road ahead?
So listen, if you're talking to your customers all the time, right, they will keep you grounded because your customers give you honest feedback. Right? And an unhappy customer is a customer you should really learn from.
Yeah.
Because they will tell you how to fix your product, how to fix your service, why am I unhappy, what is wrong with it. So focus on meeting customers, talking to customers, and just listening very hard.
Just a general reminder to our class of 2021, kindly send across your questions. We will be addressing them towards the end of the session. Right, sir. And, like you spoke about, okay, this is all about the journey to a successful company. What after you become successful or that how do you keep this success going? And what should be the founder's focus area then?
I think a founder has to be a magnet for talent. And if you've got good, talented people in the company, they will set the agenda for you. You won't have to do much after that in terms of doing the thinking. You keep people aligned, but smart, bright people will go out and do it for you. So I think focus on getting the talent to the company and keeping it aligned and getting great people and empowering them and, sharing the wealth with them and sharing the credit with them.
Yeah.
And you'll be all right.
And what, according to you, are signs for a founder to look out for, once a business scales up, to suggest that it's time that he or she kind of takes a step back from the day-to-day operations and to bring in a professional CEO?
Well, look, most of the young founders are professionals themselves. They are usually professionally qualified. So I'm not sure a professional CEO is always the answer. But I do believe, that look, you've got to let in a lot of people around you, and listen to them. So the one advice I would give in addition to attracting talent is listen a lot. Listen a lot. Seek to understand before trying to be understood.
Great. So I think those are all the questions that we have from our end. We have a couple of questions coming in from our listees. Right. The first one is from Shifali Vijay Vargia. She's the brand manager at Amul Cool, who's the winner of our advertising and marketing category. Her question for you is, in today's dynamic scenario, what steps should a professional take to start up while planning to leave their cushy job, considering the many ifs and buts involved?
I think you got to be clear about who you're serving and what is the unsolved problem you're solving and how will you solve it. Right? If you're just aping an idea from the West, if you're copying somebody else's idea because he made it work, so I'll make it work, that's not good enough. You got to know your customer, know the unsolved problem, and try and solve it. And if you're focused on that, you will know what needs to be done. That's the first, and that's 80% of it. Know clarity about the unsolved problem you're solving and for whom.
The next question is from Amandeep Panwar, who's from Bharat Rohan Airborne Innovations. It's a startup that has developed drone hyperspectral imaging technologies to identify crop threats for farmers. He's a winner for the agri-tech category. He has sent two questions. The first one is, what are the major challenges that you faced while building your team, especially the second layer of management?
So I think the challenge that or the pitfall that we often face, especially if we don't have enough capital, is we compromise on the quality of talent, and I think that's a trap. I think the other thing is that we often face is that when we get in talent, we don't empower the talent enough. Because we are entrepreneurs, we want to be in control, we decide everything, and both these are traps.
The second question he sent is, while starting Info Edge, what was the biggest failure that you faced and how did you overcome it?
I think early on, when we launched Naukri, we were perhaps underinvested in technology. And the reason was simple. We didn't have a founder at the top table from the tech side, full time. And I think that led to the tech voice being underrepresented. And we did rudimentary technology and focused a lot on sales. Now that worked at that time, but when we realized that, listen, we are perhaps underinvesting in technology by about maybe the year 2000, 2001, 4 years after we launched Naukri, is when we really began to invest in technology. And our initial thumb rule was that, listen, any point in time, 10 to 15% of the employees of the company should be in tech. And we more or less maintained that, maybe even exceeded that. And today, I would say we sort of, within 2 years, we had made very rapid strides on the tech side. So, today's startups very often are started by people who are good at product and engineering, don't know sales. We were okay at product engineering, but we were really good at sales. We started the other way around, but now I think we're good at both. And that's working for us.
Nishita Baler Singh, who's the co-founder and CEO of Nexus Power, which is a startup that is building an EV future beyond lithium-ion batteries by using biomimicry to make biodegradable fast-charging batteries from crop residue. I wanted to understand as to why huge potential products which need capital to continue R&D, for example, battery tech companies often end up struggling to raise investments. Is it because of lack of quick revenues, or because investors don't want to take chances at this stage in their startup? What is it?
Well, it's both, obviously. See, I think the Indian very early stage, R&D type investment market has still to mature. Now, there are efforts going on in various IITs and various incubators by the government, and other organizations. But clearly, more needs to be done. You're absolutely right. There's a gap here. And partly that's because, many investors don't really understand that space very well. And therefore, if there's a company making a promise that this is what this technology can do if I develop it well, unless somebody really understands the person who's making that claim and say, is this person capable of doing it? And even if it does do it, will it work? And will it, create a new product, which is really good? Unless investors understand that and understand those risks and the technology, it's going to be hard for somebody to build a conviction. So, it's an unsolved problem. It needs to be solved. I don't have the answers right now.
Got it. And just one last thing, sir. If there's one advice you'd like to give our enterprising 30 under 30 class of 2021, what would it be?
Well, it touches upon what I said earlier. What I always tell young entrepreneurs is that the customer's money is better than the investor's money. The reason being that if you're getting the customer's money and you're getting it at a price higher than your cost, and you're getting it repeatedly from the same customer, it probably means you have a viable business as long as you can get enough customers. And if you're getting the customer's money, in this fashion, you will almost certainly get the investor's money, because investors love to invest behind businesses that are getting the customer's money. But the converse is not true. Just because you get the investor's money does not mean you will get the customer's money, right? Because getting the investor's money is very often about making a good PowerPoint to a couple of young MBAs who are in an investing firm. Getting the customer's money is a lot harder, because the customer will not give you money a second time if the product did not work for him the first time, him or her. So therefore, I would say focus on the customer's money more than the investor's money.
Thank you so much, sir. This was a ridiculously and super insightful conversation with you. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Mr. Bikhchandani, for that insightful conversation. I'm sure our class of 2021 and many others took notes. All right, and with that, we come to the end of the 2021 Forbes India 30 under 30 soiree powered by Vivo. I would like to thank our partner Vivo for their support, and our travel partner Saudi Tourism, our speakers this evening, and of course our audience. Congratulations to all of the winners once again. Thank you for joining us. Stay safe, stay home, and take care.
Forbes India 30 under 30, presented by Vivo.